When will Nintendo officially reveal the Nintendo NX? When will we get more information on Breath of the Wild? What can we expect as launch titles? Joining me today to answer these questions and more is Macintyre Productions and Joey Ferris. But I would love for you to be a part of the conversation as well, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Alright guys, the Nintendo NX is launching in March of 2017, a little over half a year away, but we know absolutely nothing about it. We know more about Microsoft's Project Scorpio, which was announced at this year's E3, than we do about Nintendo's next console, and that won't even be launching until late 2017 or even 2018. So with almost 6 months to go, I think an official reveal will be coming within the next month or two, and that gives them less than half a year to market their new console. So what I want to ask you is, when do you think we will get an official announcement from Nintendo, and how do you think they will reveal it? Will it be an upcoming convention like Tokyo Game Show or Gamescom? Will it be similar to what they've done in the past with Space World, where they hold their own convention, or will it be another Nintendo Direct?
We're about 8 months away from the NX's launch, and they should announce something by at least September or October, but my money is on September because Microsoft announced the Xbox One 6 months before launch, and if they can do that, then so can Nintendo. Granted, they can't do everything Xbox did, like BS DRM, but they're not going to do that. So there's that. They can. My money is if they're going to announce it at any convention, if they're not going to do it at a direct or their own event, which I'm betting that they will do a direct to announce it. That's my thing. I think they would do it at Gamescom, which I believe is either next month or in September. Well, September is actually Tokyo Game Show, so I forget when Gamescom is. Correct me if I'm wrong. But that would be the event to do it, and because they're definitely going to Gamescom, but I don't know if they're going to announce it. I don't know if they would announce the NX there. But I think we would get more information on Breath of the Wild. Maybe they would give off a new area to explore, or maybe they would announce that dungeons are going to be a thing in Breath of the Wild. So that'll be interesting to see what Nintendo has to do with Gamescom. Either way, I'm just excited because we're getting really close to an NX announcement. Fall is coming, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for us.
And just as Joey has so eloquently stated, basically, we don't really know much about Nintendo X or really how Breath of the Wild will be released in terms of, let's say, advertising the commercials in the future. For all we know, September is very much theorized to be a very likely date when we will get information on the Nintendo NX. And just segueing a bit towards, let's say, the tactics that Nintendo may or may not take in which and how to present this particular console. I believe Shigeru Miyamoto said a while back that the reason why Nintendo is just so tight-lipped about revealing more Nintendo NX info is because they don't want to show off too much of the console because they're afraid of copycats, that rival companies might imitate their hardware. Now that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure what the Nintendo NX is in structure. Many have speculated it'll be like a two-device kind of system with a mobile unit and a hardware unit, and there's multiple other pieces of patents that may or may not allude to this. However, despite this, I believe we can all agree that the NX will be something different. Kimishima has alluded to this, that it won't be a new Wii or Wii U or whatever he said. And many other officials over at Nintendo have said and stated that the NX will unleash something new upon the market. And then going briefly, let's say the success that Pokemon Go has been receiving, it's been very much awe-inspiring. I believe in the first day, Nintendo stocks went up 10 points, and for a moment, Nintendo stock was actually more valuable than Sony. It no longer is at the moment, but the amount of Pokemon Go, the success it's been having has been awe-inspiring. How does this relate to Nintendo NX? Well, I know I might get some sort of weird responses when I say this, but I have a strong feeling that Nintendo NX will be marketed towards the casual consumer. I believe Ubisoft, the CEO, actually said the word casual when he was describing the NX. And other officials that I've alluded to receive dev kits have noted that this system is going to be more casual centered. And there's another thing, like if we're going to call this casual, then what is the difference? How do you define casual and hardcore? I actually talked to a couple of friends about this particular issue. Maybe you have differing degrees. But the most popular response I received on the difference between hardcore and casual is in terms of gameplay. Like casual is very like pick up and play approach. In fact, a friend of mine, Loot Crane or Cole, he stated that pretty much he called Zelda Breath of the Wild casual because it's very pick up and go oriented. You could pick up, you could play a shrine and finish that in about like 10-15 minutes and place it down. And that brings a whole new emphasis. A lot of people would think Breath of the Wild was a hardcore game, in which it can be too. But what are the lines between hardcore and casual? I know that's going off on an entirely different tangent here, but I do have a feeling that Nintendo NX, whatever it is, it will be geared towards casuals, but the line between the casual market and the hardcore market is kind of blurring. And I think Nintendo is going to be capitalizing it and crossing over between those two echelons. For example, I believe that the NX stands for Nintendo Cross or something like that, or Nintendo X. So maybe they're crossing over those different demographics, and that's my 2 cents on the situation.
If you're talking about the NX name, I just want to point those out there. I don't think we should ever go by the name of it, because even Kimishima, the president of Nintendo, said not even he knows why it's called NX. So it could just be just some placeholder name. I don't think there's anything really special behind the name. Like GameCube was called Dolphin, and Wii U was called Project Cafe, and none of those names even make a lick of sense.
Joey, what are your thoughts on what Andy said about the head of Ubisoft talking about the NX as a console for casual gamers?
About the casual audience, Andy, it's so true. The line is being blurred. What does casual even mean anymore? Because the way I see it, the casual audience does play games like Call of Duty or even Battlefield. Like, I don't even label those games as like hardcore games anymore, because almost everyone I know plays them. Grand Theft Auto, almost everyone plays that. Now, granted, not everyone plays that, not like my grandma or someone, but it's a very blurred line, like you were saying, and it's interesting to see what the term hardcore will mean 5 years down the line.
You both have some interesting points, especially about the casual side of the console and with Breath of the Wild. So right now, Breath of the Wild is the only confirmed Nintendo game that we have actually seen that is coming to the NX, and as Andy stated, it does seem more suited for casual pick-up and play gamers. If you're on the go and only have 20 or 30 minutes to play, you can hop in, complete a shrine or two, save the game, and continue later, which is very different from traditional home console Zelda titles, where a dungeon may take several hours if you don't know what you're doing. So, is Breath of the Wild an example of what we can expect from future Nintendo NX games, since the NX is rumored to be a hybrid console? Will we get games developed from the beginning as traditional home console games, but have these elements of mobile gaming in them so they do feel more comfortable to take on the go? Or the second option, will we still have that strong divide between home console and mobile gaming?
Well, I want to harken back to a quote that Shigeru Miyamoto gave a while back. He stated that the gaming community, or let's say the gaming marketplace, or gaming zeitgeist, and zeitgeist means spirit of the times, he stated that pretty much people don't have time to invest into, let's say, a very in-depth game with a whole lot of stuff going along with it. And I guess the best definition, or at least correct me if I'm wrong for anybody that's hearing this, the best difference I could, let's say, describe between what's the difference between a hardcore game and a casual game is that a casual game is very pick up and go. You could just play for 10-15 minutes and just place it down, like let's say Call of Duty. It's a very like an arcadey shooter. I can just play a game of team deathmatch and then or search and destroy and call it a day. Whereas let's say a more hardcore game, what kind of game? Let's think of The Last of Us. It's a very in-depth game, a lot of plot, a lot of heavy stuff in there. You have to get really, really invested in that game to really enjoy it. So that's how at least I would define those two different classifications. How does this relate to let's say the NX and let's say the future of gaming? At least in Japan, it is. I'm not sure about what the current gaming environment is here in the West, but in Japan, There's always been a craze over mobile gaming and handheld gaming. In fact, console gaming is at a decline in Japan. So I could understand why Nintendo was going down that route, since they are a Japanese company. So like I could understand that statement. Miyamoto said people don't have time to really get enthralled in a leisurely game anymore. It's very casual now. Like as we see with Pokemon Go, that's the whole mobile platform that's pretty much like doing Pokemania 2.0. It's like 1998 all over again. So like in terms of the NX, it might also follow through with that philosophy, but I'm not necessarily sure if how people identify as casual would necessarily be a bad or good thing, or how they would view it in their particular perspectives, and that's what I have to say on it.
I think this all boils down to if the NX is definitely a hybrid handheld stationary console. I mean, I'm believing that rumor less and less as time goes on. I don't even know what to think of the damn console anymore without seeing it, but I don't think Nintendo's going to abandon the handheld market, because like you said, they're a Japan-based company, so they're of course going to appeal to Japan. That is probably the number one priority. I don't know, probably not the number one priority. Americans buy into all their games too. And like you were saying, Breath of the Wild could be very much a casual type game. You could just jump in there and play a shrine or two, and that would make for a great handheld game as well, if it acts as a PS Vita and a PS4 remote play, where as long as you're connected to Wi-Fi, you can play any game on your PS4. That's totally neat, and I would be totally down for that if the NX did that. So that could be Nintendo's way of appealing to both the handheld and the console market. But I have to say that if they want people to buy their units, they can't make it cost so much. So my proposition is they come out with a pack where you can buy like the handheld portion of the unit together with the console, or you can just buy the console itself and buy the handheld unit later. I think that would be the best route to go. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, you bring up the remote play, which is something that I think a lot of people have been thinking the NX is going to be doing for a while, but recently I had another YouTube creator on, and they brought up the ideal of, instead of it releasing with its own gamepad, that it just comes with a clip or something to where you can mount a mobile device like a cell phone on, and there's an app that you can download which lets you stream the game to the phone, and then you can just play it on the controller, which is also something that PlayStation's doing. I know if you have certain Sony branded phones or tablets, or if now they have it to where, and I think this is with Xbox One as well, you can stream it not to just the tablet or whatever, but you can stream it to your laptop or your PC and play your Xbox One or your PlayStation 4 games. So their ideal of Nintendo, since they are getting in this mobile market, releasing this app that lets you stream from the console to the phone and use that as the second screen experience. That way it would reduce costs of them putting a tablet controller in with the system, and then you can just use whatever you already have.
That's definitely a possibility. Like I suppose, like at least very recently, Nintendo likes to have a lot of priority when it comes to, let's say, what kind of controls you would like to play for a particular console. Like for example, take Smash 4. Like I think there's like 5 or 6 different controller schemes you can play with Smash 4. It's ridiculous. Well, not ridiculous, but like there's a lot of options for that. Perhaps it's also another possibility you could see in, like, let's say in the NX. And going back to Breath of the Wild for a moment, I believe IG Numa said that you could play Breath of the Wild with the Pro controller, and you could not play the game with the gamepad if you so wish. That may or may not be somehow alluded with the NX. I know that's taking a lot of liberties when making that statement. But like we still don't know a whole lot of the NX, like the whole concept stage. So that may or may not be like an accurate thing to go on. But even still, like Nintendo, like, wow, now we're going into the question of whether or not the NX is going to be backwards compatible. I am leaning towards no, and that's mainly because of the whole, like, let's say the new architecture that the NX may or may not have. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the NX will not have games running on the Wii U on the NX. Like, I'm pretty sure Smash 4 will get a port, or some new version will be on the NX. And additionally with other games as well, like Splatoon, maybe there's a sequel for that, and it's probably going to be called Splatoon or something. I don't know. But yeah, I can imagine something like that.
If we're talking about backwards compatibility, after seeing that Xbox One is now backwards compatible with Xbox 360 games, I don't care what any company's excuse is now for not having backwards compatibility. Sony, you can do it. They're already doing it with PS2 games, but you can't like put your PS2 disc in there. Don't know why, but you can't. And I feel like Nintendo would do their best to do the same. I mean, backwards compatibility has meant a lot to them for the past few years when they didn't like change the hardware too much. Like Wii was backwards compatible with GameCube, Wii U, Wii games. I wouldn't be surprised if this didn't have backwards compatibility though, especially considering Wii U was not a popular system, so I doubt many people would miss their old Wii U games. But we'll see how that We'll see how that boat sails, because I would like backwards compatibility, but if not, I won't complain.
Hello guys, I am Macintyre, or better known as Andy. I typically do Nintendo-centric stuff over at Macintyre Productions. We just talk basically about news, theories, things of that nature. If you like Zelda, Nintendo NX stuff, Metroid, I dabble into that. And I dabble into other particular type of topics as well. And I'm also opening, I have a former channel, it's going to be reorganized, called Macintyre Records, where I just divvy up a bunch of old music stuff. But I'm actually relocating a bunch of short films and stuff. Like, I'm going to announce this soon. I'm working on this 3D animation film called Desert Batman, and I'm really, really excited to get that together. But other than that, if you like what you heard, then head on over.
Hi guys, I'm Joey Ferris of two different channels, Ferris Wheel Productions and Commonwealth Realm. For Commonwealth Realm, I do videos with Conrad, and we basically go over Zelda theories, Nintendo NX news, and theories. And if you basically like Andy's channel, Mr. McIntyre right there, then you should check out our channel as well. And if you're a fan of game reviews, with comedic game reviews, then you should check out my other channel, Ferris Wheel Productions.